is doable. I don't see any way to get a hostage basket on c5 for the gold cat, and flipping the gold camel into e5 would just let the gold camel retreat to g3, and indeed Fritzlein does play this move, so flipping the gold camel does not help at all, and I don't think silver can push the gold cat into c5 on this move. So gold seems kind of safe as far as the cat is concerned. And now on move 20s as silver, I think I would push this gold camel away towards d3 and advance the silver's horse into g4, and silver's attack around f3 would be extremely frightening.
Yeah, I was looking at two things with the camel. One is to flip it up to e5, but that's very dangerous. I mean, it's dangerous for both players in different ways. And the other one is the simpler, straightforward attack of pushing the camel west. But then I guess you'd have to maybe take a step back with your... It seems that the western silver pieces are a little bit in danger if the camel's pushed west. But yeah, I do like... I think that the strongest long-term possibility for silver is this idea of attacking against the f3 trap like that. Although, I guess on 20s we were thinking he would push the camel west to keep it as far away from his horse as possible. But he might have, Tuks might have been thinking the other way, that he didn't want to push the camel west because then it would become an attacker against his b4 horse. So that was an interesting call there.
Yes, indeed, that would have been rather double-edged. But really, I think the attack around f3 was so strong that even maybe trading a horse against a dog and a rabbit would have been just terrible for gold, and so it would have been very hard for gold to meet this very quick attack around f3, and at the same time try to get a hostage or even a capture on c3. But yeah, pushing the gold camel into e2 is some kind of middle way. The horse is going to advance to g3 anyway, the silver horse. But now gold has more prospects, more hope of relocating his own camel towards g3 to meet that silver horse. So for instance, on move 21g, he might think about just moving his f1 rabbit away to e1, moving the gold dog, the f2 dog down to f1, and then creating a path for the camel to move to g2, so he would temporarily lose control over f3, but then he might think of re-establishing the control on the next move by advancing the camel to g3 and retaking the f2 square. So that might be maybe an interesting move. And frankly, pushing the camel away to d3 looked more forceful for silver, especially since the camel could not have reached c4 or b3 on that move, because gold would have had to defend f3, and so at worst silver could have just retreated his pieces, his cat and his horse on the next move, and I think that would have been much easier for silver to attack around f3 next.
Yeah, I like your suggested 21G. Well, I should point out that Tuks is just down to 28 seconds of reserve as well, because he's really he's been on low on time for quite a while now. I like your 21G. I think he really has to... Okay, he didn't do that. I really thought it was important to get the camel over to g2 to fight the horse. So now I think the most logical steps are one step to move a rabbit to h3. I really like that. 2 steps to push the horse from g4 to g3, and that looks like a great attack. And then my fourth step, I might think of putting the camel from b6 onto the c6 square, just in case the gold horse later counterattacks against f6. I might take one step right now as a preventative for a future move in case the silver camel needs to cross over to the east. The other thing it does is it creates the option of when the camel's on c6 later, if the gold's cat in c4 ever wants to be captured, you've already unfrozen the c5 cat to get it out of the way. So there's a couple reasons I like putting the camel on c6, and I would probably do that right now.
Yeah, so Tuks is almost doing that, but not putting the camel on c6. Actually, as silver, I wouldn't be too worried about the gold horse pushing into g6 and threatening the f6 trap. That would just be some kind of dual elephant plus horse attack, but silver has the advanced rabbit while gold doesn't have any kind of advanced rabbit. Maybe he could get an advanced rabbit by pushing through f3 and advancing pieces through f3, but that's a rather long-term plan. In the short run, that would be very, very hard for gold to achieve anything around f3. Maybe actually gold is thinking that he can hold on to the f3 trap without the elephant, and then try to get some cat capture on c3, for example, with his elephant. So here on move 22g, I was going to suggest just advancing the dog to f4 and then pushing the silver cat into g. Oh no, that was not possible. So it's very hard for gold to get a quick capture threat on c3, and so he's advancing his camel to f2 and eyeing for the g3 square, hoping to advance the camels through f3. And on move 22s, Tuks establishes a frame around f3, and that looks absolutely crushing. Gold could just push the g3 rabbit away, but doing so he would lose a dog. So here I don't think gold can save material here. Is that correct, Greg?
Oh, that's my first instinct. That was a great 22s by Tuks there. He's got double threats. The rabbit on g3 is going to be a killer goal threat if that elephant can knock out the f3 gold rabbit on the next move. Maybe even move the silver elephant to f2 on the next move to create a goal in one threat. So excellent move on the southeast, and then the fact that he's also getting that would have been a defendable threat if it was just the only threat. If the gold horse could move from h5 to g3, that would be great for gold right now, because it would reestablish control over f3. But it's that second threat against the dog on f5 that makes that a killer move. And I think you're right. I don't think that he can protect everything at once. Because it takes 4 moves for either the elephant or the horse to add a second defender to the f3 trap. And using all 4 steps, even if the gold elephant were to push the silver horse out of the way, that silver horse still has the mobility to capture the dog. So I don't see any way for this to work out in gold's favor, unless he can do some kind of goal in one thread or something. If he uses 2 steps to maybe move a horse to g5, move the dog to e5, and then use 2 steps to run a rabbit up to h4. But I don't think that works either, because I think that it only takes 3 steps for gold. So I don't even see a delaying tactic, but I don't know, maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Oh yeah, very interesting. Yeah, indeed, it looks like it's not going to work, because gold would have to use a 5th step to fill the e2 square, to force silver to use 4 steps in the f3 capture, but he cannot at the same time move the dog to e2, prevent the dog capture, and threaten gold on h8. So gold will lose a piece here. There is no choice. The question is whether he wants to lose the f3 rabbit or the f5 dog. I think he could decide to save the dog, for example, by unfreezing the dog with the horse and moving the dog to e5, and then moving the horse to g4 on the next move. And so silver would capture on f3, and on the next move gold would be able to push into g3 with his horse and re-establish control by moving his camel again to f2. Oh no, because silver would capture by pushing the gold camel into f1, threatening, not really threatening a goal. Okay, so I think gold can just lose the rabbit, but losing the rabbit is also very crucial, because that's 1 less defender in the east, and then the gold dog is not really out of trouble. And so on move 23g, Fritzlein decides to let the rabbit die, threatening a dog capture. So what now? Tuks has to decide whether he wants his elephants to remain on e3 or to push into f2 to make this rabbit capture and use a 4th step to defend f6. and he will have to be careful not to let a gold rabbit advance up the h file. But for instance, pushing the camel into f1 would establish a gold in one threat, so gold would not be able to use too many steps to advance his h2 rabbit. So silver is looking really good right now.
Yeah, actually, he's a bit fortunate here, because if he pushes the camel down to h2, he's got two gold in one threats. One is a gold threat right down the g file if he pulls the g2 rabbit away, and the other one is walking to Fritz would have two goal in ones to stop. So he could use two steps to stop both goal in ones, and then would he be able to move a gold rabbit to h4 in that case? So the thing is, it's still a little bit tricky here. I think because the gold rabbit can only make it as far as h4. Wow, I'm surprised he did not defend f6 there. I'm very surprised. Oh, because there's two steps that have to be taken defensively. He didn't need to defend his f6 trap. So yeah, I would have been a little concerned. I was thinking maybe move a rabbit to h8 or something. I would be concerned as silver about the long-term prospects of a gold advance along the east side.
Yeah, I think that was a nice move. Yeah, in the long run, Tuks will have to move a cat into e6 to cover f6 probably. So gold has to use very many steps to defend f3, both the goal and the capture. So he's done so with 3 steps, and he has withdrawn his cat with the 4th step to avoid a capture. Actually, I would have liked maybe the camel to move to b5 on one of the previous moves, not to c6, but maybe to b5 to get some kind of quick threats against the cat on c4, and the cat would not have been able to retreat because of the capture threat on c3. But as things stand, gold has been able to withdraw his cat, and so silver is up a rabbit, which is very nice, and silver has still a very nice control around f3. There is no immediate strong goal attack, I suppose, but that's a very nice strategic advantage around f3. So gold could envision still to advance a rabbit up the h file. The question is whether gold can use still one less piece to defend the eastern wing against the g3 rabbit. So here silver has free hands to do something. Pulling the cat back to c4 is an option. Relocating the camel to e6 is another option for silver. The camel on e6 would quickly threaten some capture around f3, and so that's what he does on move 24s. And things are still looking very, very hard. Yeah, it's very hard for gold to find something to do, because silver's camel is going to regain control over f6, and I don't really see any strong gold attack prospects for gold if he has to fight against the camel. What do you think of gold's possibilities here, Greg?
The only thing I'm a bit surprised about is I would have flipped a rabbit from g2 into f3 on the previous move before bringing the camel over. And I like 2 things about the camel frame. Is the rabbit frame on f3. And first thing I like is that, of course, it's a framed piece. It makes it harder for the gold elephant to move around, but also it takes away the idea of an h2 rabbit charging up the east side. For example, right now, the gold rabbit on h2 could run up to h5, and then a gold rabbit could move from g2 to h2. I'm not saying that's a good defensive move. It's probably a losing move, but if gold could build up more defenses on the east side and then charge a gold rabbit up, it's a bit scary for silver. But if you flip a gold rabbit from g2 to f3, it makes it pretty much impossible at any time in the future for any gold rabbit to advance, because that's a crucial defender. So that's what I liked anyways. But now the camel moving over is strong as well, because even though I preferred the other move, this is obviously another candidate move that's very strong, because the camel is going to shut down that northeast gold counterattack. And once that attack falls apart, if silver can regain control of both eastern traps at the same time, that's obviously a huge advantage. So right now, Tuks is really looking to dominate this game.
Yeah, so Gold has to find a way to regain control of f3 without his elephant, because Gold will have